Palworld was arguably one of the biggest games of this year. And like, it seems like so long ago when Palworld was popular, but it was only a few months ago, back in like earlier this year, back in around like January and February, that Palworld absolutely blew up on the internet. Became arguably like one of the games of the year, like not in terms of like quality, but just in terms of popularity and how fun it was to play. Like it probably won't win any awards at like the Game Awards or anything like that, but it still was an amazing game to play. And a lot of the comparisons were drawn to it, obviously, because it is a massive inspiration taken from Pokemon and added with guns. And it was fun. It was hella fun. But of course, that has all been brought to a halt today, as it is seen that Nintendo has come out with an official statement that they are actually filing a lawsuit against Pocket Pair, which is the company that has made Palworld, with this statement right here, which I'm going to read over really quickly, saying Nintendo Co., the president, all that kind of stuff, together with Pokemon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair, the people who own Palworld, on September 18th, 2024. The lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years. This, to me, is absolutely ridiculous. I know that back, if you don't know, when the game like first started to become extremely popular, Pokemon themselves, they actually did release a statement at the time saying that they were inquiring and looking into this. So this right here is what the Pokemon Company released. I'm not going to read over this one, but you can pause the video if you want to. But they did say that they were actually looking into like the intellectual property of Pokemon and looking at Palworld to see if there was any comparisons between the two enough to actually file a lawsuit, which at the time, I mean, I saw that and I was just like, this is a whole bunch of baloney. Like, this is just a whole bunch of bullcrap. And I didn't actually think that they would actually going to find any grounds to go ahead and file this lawsuit against. Because to me, I saw it as, like I said, just a whole load of bullshit. I was like, there's no way that they're going to actually find something within the game that is actually good enough to sue. Like, yes, it's obvious that Palworld has taken a lot of inspiration, and at times, like, yeah, it might have copy and pasted a couple things, but I mean, if you really think about it, nothing really is original these days. And to be honest, if you go ahead and take like a game that you're inspired by, or a property, an existing property that you're inspired by, and you like it, and you want to make your own version and put a massive twist on it, then I find that absolutely fine. That's fine. But I can't believe that Nintendo's actually gone ahead and found something well enough within like Palworld to go ahead and sue. Now, we actually don't know the full details of this lawsuit yet. I've tried finding, but this is like early like hours and early times of this lawsuit. So there's no actual real details about exactly what Palworld, what Nintendo is suing Palworld over. Like, they're not suing them over the entire game. It's obviously just it's either like some mechanics or some aspects, something within Palworld specifically that Nintendo has found. Now, I know that I was speaking to my mate about this briefly, and he said that supposedly it's got to do with Arceus, like Pokemon Legends Arceus or Arceus. I don't know how to say the name exactly. Apparently, it's got to do with something within that game, but I'm not 100%, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. So if like, it does come out, please, or you know what it is and you found it, do let me know down in the comments. But like I said, it is still early times. But I find this all quite just a whole load of bullshit. I mean, I remember when Palworld first came out, and there was so many of the people on the internet, so many of those Nintendo fanboys that were making threads about how much Palworld is copying, Pokemon, and how much of a ripoff it really is. Like, so many people on the internet were being white knights for this multi-billion-dollar company that, to me, it was absolutely ridiculous, especially when there's been so many different copies in the past of Pokemon. Like, you look at Digimon. Digimon itself is more of a copy than Palworld ever will be. And not even that, but Pokemon has copied other things in the past. If you just go ahead and look at Dragon Quest, like you look at Dragon Quest from 86, and then you look at the monsters from Pokemon back in 96, I mean, they are legitimately, some of them are almost a carbon copy. It really is. So it's, to me, I find it like quite ironic that, these people were going ahead and defending Pokemon and saying like, oh my God, Palworld is such it's just a carbon copy. Nintendo should 100% sue them. And like I said at the time, is that I found it, that it was absolute bullshit. There's no way that Nintendo was going to find some grounds on actually suing Palworld. But the fact they've gone ahead and done it is, to me, just, I mean, unbelievable. And even these people that were actually defending Pokemon at the time as well, and like trying to, find every single little detail about how much Palworld is copying Pokemon. I mean, I don't get why people were actually defending Pokemon at the time, especially if you go ahead and look at the atrocious shit that Nintendo has released in recent times when it's come to Pokemon. Like, when was the last time that Pokemon fans actually got a good Pokemon game? Like, you can't admit it. The last 2 Pokemon games have been terrible. Especially the recent one, whatever it was, Scarlet or Violet. That game, the amount of glitches and bugs that were within that game were ridiculous. That game was heavily criticized because of how terrible the game ran. And not just how terrible it ran, but also how terrible it looked. And some people were making the excuse about, oh, it's because of the Switch. But you can't make that because you have, it's on the Switch and the Switch isn't that much of a good hardware. But then you have a game like Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch as well, which looks absolutely amazing considering the hardware that team was given. Pokemon looks like absolute shit. And then you get a game like Palworld that is developed by people who actually just want to make a good game. The game looks amazing. And unfortunately now, this whole entire team has been sued. I mean, to me, I find it like pretty sad. And honestly, I hope that Nintendo does lose like this lawsuit. And like I said, I really can't think of it. Like, yeah, Palworld definitely did take some aspects from Pokemon. I mean, rightfully so. So many games over the years have done that. I mean, how many games? You can think of so many games in recent times. Like every single Battle Royale, to a certain extent, is the exact same. I mean, they're all ripped off H1Z1 if you really think about it. H1Z1 should then go ahead. They should sue PUBG, sue Apex, sue Fortnite, because they all took the BR and that Battle Royale like aspect away and the idea of it from H1Z1. I mean, look at Diablo. Diablo has so many, they were like the godfather of ARPGs and the way ARPGs were made. All right, then Blizzard should go ahead and sue Grinding Gear Games for Path of Exile because they took like the ARPG aspect and they made it even better. Like, why is it that Pokemon has to have this whole entire monopoly over like the animal capture or whatever like kind of genre you want to name it? Isn't it good that Pokemon actually finally has some kind of good competitor out there in Palworld where it's developed by a team who actually wants to make a good game? And they've even come out in recent times, like when the game was starting to like, go lower in players because everyone kind of have done like all the content that was in the game at that time, because it is still like in relatively early access. The people who are making the game are like, guys, go out and play other games for now. Go play other games, experience other games, and when we make more content, then we'd like you to come back to this game. I mean, isn't that what we want from developers? We want people who actually want to make games, who are passionate about it, and that actually, like, are putting competitors out there for games that seem to have a monopoly on one genre, because then it makes Pokemon, like the developers and Nintendo themselves, actually want to put effort into their upcoming games. But no, Nintendo, to me, they have to be the most selfish company in all of like the gaming development, gaming publishing. Like this isn't the first time that they've gone ahead and done something like this, especially relating to not even just like to other things, but even relating to Palworld. Like, remember when someone made a Palworld mod where it actually replaced everything with actual Pokemon, and that got taken down by Nintendo within like a day? Like within a day, they took that down. Like it was gone. Like it was gone quicker than it was up. Like it was up release, and before you knew it, that thing got taken down, and the people who made it got given like some kind of infringement notice from Nintendo themselves. But not just that as well, like you're not allowed to mod any of their games because they don't like you modding their games, which to me is absolutely stupid, because the modding community actually keeps games alive. And I also don't know if you know, but I remember earlier, I think it was this year or I think it was last year, I can't remember exactly when this happened, but Ludwig actually got given like some kind of infringement notice from Nintendo as well when it came to Smash Bros. Melee, because he was running some some kind of tournament and he wanted to like, adjust one of the maps and stop one of the things in the background like from moving. And Nintendo said he couldn't do that on a game that's like 15 years old or however old like Smash Bros. Melee is, which to me is ridiculous. Like Nintendo is one of the most selfish, self-centered companies in this industry. Without a doubt, when it comes to the whole entire gaming industry, Nintendo is so self-centered. It's like they literally want to own a monopoly over everything. It's why there's something called the Nintendo tax. It's why that we don't get no Nintendo games on PC. Like you see Sony starting to like, put their games onto Steam now. Nintendo will never do that because they are extremely selfish. So the fact that they have actually gone ahead and done this, like I'm surprised that they've found something, but I'm not surprised that they've gone ahead and done this. And I do hope that they lose because Nintendo does not deserve this win whatsoever. They don't. Considering their past, considering the type of company that they are, they do not deserve this win from this lawsuit. And I hope that the people who made Palworld come out on top. But I'd definitely like to hear what you guys think about all of this down below. That's going to be it from me. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.